Hello everybody and welcome back to the Retro Recall. I hope you're doing awesome. It's 1999, I need a printer, and I just got back from the local computer store and purchased myself a Hewlett Packard HP 2000C Professional Series color printer. That's right, the big race for color printing was on at that time. It was such an exciting time in computing history. I remember my first printer was an HP 600C, and then I got a bunch of other different HPs through the years. And I've always been fascinated with the Hewlett Packard line, as well as this particular inkjet line. And I'm really excited to be able to have this beautiful new old stock in the collection, and I'm happy to bring it to everyone today. So you know what? Let's get right to it. And here we are, and we're back, and just a beautiful sight to have on the bench. This printer back in 1999 was $799.97 US. For inflation today, it works out to be $1,360 US. And converted to Canadian, for my Canadian friends here, is with inflation, $2,020 today is what this printer would have cost. And it's just absolutely crazy to think that this printer would have cost that much back then, but as did most technology back in the day. We would go back in time and you think about, even tech today, what's going to be like in 10 years, 20 years, and you think about those things. And so, yeah, I'm just really excited to have this. In today's video in the scope, what I think we're going to do is do the full unboxing, see what it came with back in 1999, and connect it to a computer and see what we can do to print on it, see if it even works. I mean, it's been sitting in the box for 24 years, and we'll see if it actually works. So let's go over the box itself. It's kind of zoomed out here just because it is a very large box, and I'm just trying to make sure everybody can see it. All right, so we have the Hewlett Packard Expanding Possibilities, definitely one of their branding back in the late 90s, mid to late 90s to early 2000s. Of course, their boxes got more colorful and changed their designs and things like that. So the HP 2000C Professional Series color printer, color laser speed on your desktop, saves up to 30% on printing costs, and brilliant photo quality on any paper. I don't know how much it would save. I'm telling you, that dot matrix printer I had was pretty darn awesome. Yes, it was only black ink, but it worked pretty well, in terms of cost. But when it comes to this, I think what they're referring to is specifically laser printers at the time. Laser printers at the time were extremely expensive for the toner. I mean, arguably today it still is. And they were saying, hey, you know what? We'll give you laser speeds and cut down on your cost in a home-based type unit. And I mean, arguably this would be used in small business as well. So breakthrough color print speed and the HP real life imaging system. So again, a lot of different features they boasted. And here we are on the side. So we see Hewlett Packard again, expanding possibilities. And then we have some additional French language on this side. And on this side, we have breakthrough color print speed. So color laser speed in a desktop printer. So again, they were really trying to compete with that at the time. Black printing at up to 10 pages per minute. Key point is up to, depending on how much text you actually had on the page at the time. And of course, this is specifically saying when you think about 10 pages per minute back in 1999, that's pretty darn quick. So simply smarter printing. HP's smart printing technology keeps you informed and saves money. Low printing costs comparable to color laser printing. So right there, we're talking that through. Because again, toner and color toner specifically was very expensive at the time. Less wasted ink with new single color cartridge design. That was key. When they started to come out with that, that made a huge difference. I had the original HP cartridges of color. They called them their tricolor ink cartridges. And that was for my HP 600, my HP 670C series, and even arguably into the 680s, 690s, and 720 type range. And those particular printers had the tricolor cartridge, which was in itself pretty cool technology. But when you think about it, if one ink slot within that cartridge ran out, you're done. I mean, it couldn't mix the colors properly. With this, and you'd have to replace the cartridge. But with this, they're specifically saying new single color cartridge design. So if you have your magenta, your cyan, and your yellow, you'd have all three of those there, and you'd be able to replace the individual cartridges instead of having to replace the whole cartridge. So it says ink gauge, low ink indicator, print head replacement warning, makes it easy to plan on printing projects. So if you have a big print job you're about to print, I mean, it's pretty cool to have that, so it'll give you the warning. I know my earlier printers did not have that. New transparency sensor and job cancel button. That's awesome. 250 sheet optional paper tray, saves time. Print multiple copies at your desk with robust 5,000 pages per month duty cycle. I mean, that is pretty darn good considering what was on the market at the time without actually having a copier, an actual photocopier in front of you. And again, they are doing what they can to compare this to a laser printer or a business office use. They're saying, hey, go with our product. It will be far more superior in terms of cost as well as longevity. Brilliant photo quality on everything you print. Smallest ink drops deliver more shades of color for vibrant, natural looking results on any paper with HP Photo Ret 2. So, I mean, again, this their own particular technology, and then it specifically calls out, hey, the HP 2000C Professional Series color printer has the smallest ink drops when compared to other desktop printers. So they're saying, hey, we're boasting this, but read the fine print. I mean, it's comparing itself to other printers in the market. And then sharp professional quality, black and color with HP's proprietary inks. And I know HP specifically, a lot of printers were, but HP specifically were like, hey, you know what? Don't be refilling these cartridges. Get our original cartridges because we have the best ink and we won't provide warranties to your printer if for whatever reason it is damaged. All right, we're going to swap this around again just to see what else is going on here. And on this side, we just have everything written in French. So we'll continue going through. And on this side, we have a bunch more information. So we have the contents of the actual box. It looks like there was a packing label here, which kind of caused a little bit of damage to the box, but no big deal. We have HP 2000C actual printer installed. HP number 10 black, cyan, magenta, and yellow ink cartridges for print heads. So we have number 10 is the actual cartridges it takes. Power cord, CD-ROM containing printer software and business templates, user's guide, and setup guide. Must purchase printer interface cables separately. So it tells you to use IEEE 1284 compliant parallel cable, which we have several of here. So we'll be able to do that. Then it says minimum system requirements. It's been covered over by this shipping label, but it's interesting. The shipping label shows 11/4/1999. That was shipped here locally. So it shows November 4th. And this printer, I believe, when I read online, came out early of 1999. So January, February 1999. So it says the minimum system requirements, and keeping in mind minimum, is an 386 25 megahertz CPU with 8 megabytes of RAM, running Windows 95. That's for Windows 3.1, sorry. Windows 95, you're going to run that. You need 486 25 megahertz as well as 8 megs of RAM. And then Windows NT 4, same thing. 486 25, but with 16 megs of RAM to be able to run this printer. So I think it's pretty darn neat. Okay, let's get situated here and start to open the box up. Okay, so this is always fun to do on camera, trying to film such a large box here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the box. I'm scoring the tape along the top. And again, this box is completely sealed back from 1999. Very excited to have this to do this. So sorry if some of this comes off frame, everybody. We'll get it back in frame here in a moment. So there we are. We have the box opened up, and the very first thing at the top is what looks like, to me, a quick start guide in different languages. And here we are. So what does it say? So that is French. I'm not going to be reading that today. We have English here. All right. So it says, follow these easy steps to get your HP 2000C set up and ready to print. So what do we have here? We have turn the printer on. And that's step number 1, of course. And then you go through, or step number 2, I should say. Number 1 says connect the cables. Interesting how it has this way. But number 1, connect the cables. Number 2, turn the printer on. Remove the access cover. Install the ink. Install the 4 print heads. Goes through all the process here. Insert your paper and then initialize the printer. So then it gives you your troubleshooting checklist. So properly close the print head latch and access the cover turn the printer off and on again, make sure all cables are connected firmly, make sure all 4 ink cartridges are installed, make sure the protective tape has been removed from each print head, make sure all 4 print heads are installed and firmly seated, and make sure there's paper in the tray. And if not, go to this site and we'll help you out. But I've already gone to that site, and needless to say, it is offline. So then on the other side, it gives you all the different steps for the different operating systems to install the print driver and the actual software itself. So I think this is pretty darn neat to have this printout, and it's actually pretty durable paper there, which is pretty awesome. Now, the one thing we're going to have to be worried about, if anything, is does the ink actually work? All right, we have a power cable. So that's the power cable, which is directly to the unit itself. Now, the old printers that I had actually had a transformer on the cable itself, so it's actually really good to have that. Okay, let's pull out some more stuff here. Let's see what we have. Okay, we have a bunch of ink that it came with here, and I'm happy to go through everything here with everybody. So we have the print heads here, number 10 print heads. Here they are, and they are completely sealed. Obviously, it's a brand new old stock unit, and it gives you the actual print heads, what ones they are. So we have cyan, we have yellow, we have black, and we have the magenta as well. So awesome to have, and we'll put them aside as well, just because we're going to need those here shortly. I'm going to put the box. I'm going to keep all the original box as well, because it's just nice to have all of these, especially for trying to preserve a product like this. And then we have the actual cartridges, and there we are. I mean, look at them. They just slide right into those print heads, but we have the magenta here. We also have the black cartridge. Then we have the yellow, and of course, leaving, and last but not least, the cyan. And somebody made a comment to me in one of my other videos about, the printers are useless. I think it was my HP 670C video, and indicated, it's useless. You can't get cartridges anymore. You know what? I can. You can get the originals still, are still manufactured. And yeah, so it's great to be able to do that. The next thing on the list here, we'll just pull out this box. It just has some cardboard, and that cardboard comes with sealed user guides here. Look at that. Brand new shrink wrap sealed, obviously shrinking over time. Shrink wrap, that's one thing about shrink wrap, it continues to shrink. So just be mindful of that. I have some box software that is like that continues to crush. So I need to make some decisions here soon whether or not I'm going to do that. So we'll open that up here in a minute and go through. I'm just going to remove the cardboard for now, making a mess where I am. Okay, let's get this turned over and get this out of the box. And there we are. We have our beautiful Hewlett Packard printer here. And trust me, it is not light, and it is quite large. I know the camera, I have it on a different kind of zoom there to fit the whole thing in frame, but I'm telling you, it's definitely not a small printer. First thing I'm going to do is actually open up this manual here, just because it does come with all the different software. And I love how it says, set up the printer, set up all your printer quickly using the setup poster, and close your printer box and install the software. And now it's Windows 98 compatible. Ooh, because it had just come out, right? So on the box, it had that Windows 95 requirements, but then definitely compatible with Windows 98. I just love the feeling of opening up all this new old stuff. Okay, so English User's Guide. So what does it come with here? So we have the actual user guide itself, which we'll look at in a minute, but then we also have the software. So we have HP 2000C Professional Series software. It's great to have that. If this is not already on archive.org, let me know in the comments down below. I will take an image of this, as well as any copies of the book that we want to update. Okay, what else is here? We just have that insert that we saw on the back earlier, so we'll put that aside as well. And then we also have, let's look at this. Keep this card to help you select HP number 10 ink cartridges for print heads designed for your HP 2000C color printer for results that are always clear and sharp. So it's probably just a sticker that sticks on the side, so it tells you what model information to have. Remove and replace adhesive pocket and perforated card in a convenient location. Just a quick reference, put it on the side of the printer. I know some copiers do that as well with their toner cartridges. Next thing we have is want to handle more with your printer. More. What's more? Hewlett Packard Get even more of your HP 2000C printer. Now HP gives you 2 convenient ways. The HP 2000C Professional Series Accessory Paper Tray for expanded paper handling and network color printing capabilities using the HP JetDirect 300X external print server. That's pretty darn cool. Look at that. All the different colors it would have printed it in. Wow. Just the packaging you got back in the day, just what came with it. So it gives you all the different information here. So we'll go down to the English side. So want more print more, weight less. So this would be an adapter that would go on the bottom of the printer that would feed it more paper. It'd be an extra, paper tray. And then, so yeah, it shows here what it shows it does. And then we also have the actual print server that connects to the back here as well, which is just basically Ethernet to the parallel connector here to be able to put this on your network. Again, back in the day, this would have been pretty cool technology. We take it for granted today. You just go to hit print and it goes to your network printer. But then to have this is just pretty darn neat. Again, I just love having this type of material and things to go through on the in the printer. So we're not going to go through every page of the user's guide here, but obviously it walks through all the different components of the printer, how to connect things, what to do, and all those good things. So again, if this is not on archive.org, definitely happy to upload it for anybody who does not have, the original files anymore, original paperwork, as well as the original software. I'll get that uploaded as well. Okay, enough of that. We have that done. All right, now I think it's time to open up the box or unpack the actual printer itself. So I'm just going to remove the styrofoam from each end. And I officially don't have any more room in this area for this. It's such a large printer. It's much larger than I actually thought it was. I mean, I have an HP 670 sitting behind me right now that I did one of my videos on, and it was, it's big enough in itself, but my goodness. 1999 smells coming out of the machine. Oh, just crazy. Okay, let's get this plastic off here, and we'll see if we can remove, there we are. And just look at that beautiful piece of machinery. Hewlett Packard Professional Series Printer. Yeah, just very excited to have this in the collection as well. And when I saw this on Marketplace, especially new old stock, and it was local, and it was just being able to see that, I instantly jumped on it. I talked to the person. I said, listen, I have a YouTube channel. I want to do a review on this or a video on this. And I also told him that this was something that I would feature for him. So, he worked out a deal with me. So very excited to have this for sure. Okay, let's get moved in a little further now because we do have the printer in such a way that we can do that. So here we go. Okay, and we're back on the bench, all situated. A much better view of the actual unit itself. So we have the Hewlett Packard Professional Series here. We have what looks like power, pause and stop and play. So probably resume button on the side here. We have what's our paper tray underneath here, it looks like, to be able to feed the paper into the actual unit itself. And then it comes up through here and allows you to do different types. So it would come out here, but also you have the ability to put envelopes here as well. So what I'd like to do is just remove some of this plastic tape or this tape that's holding everything together. And I am actually surprised that at this age of 24 years old, it's not leaving any residue on the printer, which is nice, and it's still quite sticky. So yeah, good job, HP. You kept things to last, which is awesome. Okay, we have that out now. We're also going to remove the sticker or this tape here from the side. There we are. That's awesome. And then we have our 2000C moniker here as well. You can see I have a reflection of light there, unfortunately, but you see that now. And then down here we have includes Kodak image enhancements. So they've definitely partnered with Kodak. Kodak was a very, very, very large name at the time. Still is, but more so then regarding the print imaging. So you can see the size of the printer as I turn it around. But having literally a brand new, spanking brand new printer here, I think this is just great. So we have our power connector here, it seems, on this side here. So we're going to connect that here shortly when we go ahead to install the print heads. And we'll turn it around again and see what else we have for connections. So it looks like we have some ventilation of some sort along the back here. and again along the bottom. Nothing else, nothing too fancy here. So then we do have, like I said, the printer power there. And on this side here, we have what looks like our parallel adapter on the back. So that's where we are going to be connecting our printer connection here to our printer LPT port. And we also have what looks like a little power adapter down below here, but I imagine that's for that print server box that you could buy from Hewlett Packard to be able to connect, and it would just kind of mount on here, and then that feeds the power to the unit itself. Okay, let's get this printer all set up. So it's asking us to plug in the printer first to power, just to power it on. So we'll do that right now. And on the end here where we saw the original power, we'll just plug that in. Pretty straightforward. We'll plug it into the power bar here. So there we are. And then it says to power it on, and the amber light should come on. So with power, I think this thing has a fan built right into it. It's pretty loud. Okay, the printer is now turned on, and it says just make sure everything's kind of closed up and the amber light will be flashing, which it is. And then it says remove the access cover, so we'll do that. There we are. We have that removed. And then it states that remove the access cover once everything's been connected and install the 4 ink cartridges themselves. So that's our next step. So we'll take the actual ink cartridges and put them in the ink cartridge area. So we'll install one at a time here. The first thing we'll do is install the black cartridge. I don't even want to open these. These are so awesome. I know, it's just ink. Okay, there we are. There's the box with the ink in it. And I'm weird, so I'm definitely going to be saving these. Okay, we have this, and it says tear here. Oh, but I don't want to. Oh, it even gives you different literature here to read through as well. Okay, I'm going to open this up here. I know it gives me a different option, but I just want to open up like that. There we are. Always clear, always sharp. And there's our HP ink cartridge, HP C4840A. I think it's pretty straightforward just to slide in. Okay, we're just going to take that and put it in like so in the little guides. It has like little kind of grooves there. Here, I have it in there now. And we'll do the same thing over and over again for the different cartridges. Okay, so we have the 4 cartridges installed as per its request, and now it states that in order to install the print heads, open the purple print head latch by lifting the latch from the rear, pull the latch forward and down to release the latch hook from the purple carriage lock. So there we go, and I see that's kind of down, and then continue to pull back and then lift up. There we are. And there is our print head area. And you gotta be very careful in this area. And I like how the print heads are separate from the ink, because the print heads were part of the tricolor cartridges before. And of the day, a lot of these inkjet type printers also have the ink head, or the head, built directly in with the ink, therefore making the cartridge very expensive. And you had to replace the ink cartridge itself with the head included every time, adding to the expense. Now, the next step is we need to install the actual print heads themselves. So the first thing we're going to do is open up this black one here now. Yeah, there we go. Just a very small little tiny print head. It says Hewlett Packard print head, HPC 4800 HP authorized product use only, HP 10. And this is the little sticker that is telling you to remove. So that's where the data goes on. And also the ink would flow through to the back here. It comes out on the actual paper. So I just removed that. It looks like there's definitely some ink primed into it as well. And it looks like it actually pulls the ink up through that. So we're going to pop that in. Pretty straightforward. There's one print head. And we'll continue on and do the rest here now. Okay, so we have the ink heads installed along with the cartridges, and it's a different type of system here. They definitely are filled with ink. I got some ink on my hands through that process. I'm worried about the magenta a little bit because it did have excess ink within the actual print head packaging itself. So I want to be very careful with that. So then it says once that's been done, you reload this, but then make sure that this latch is on. So you go like this back in the front and you pull it back forward here. There we go. Yeah, it just pulls ahead and you can feel the tension on that when you do that. It kind of just lines everything back up. Okay, so we have that installed now as per the instructions. Then it states to put the cover back on and align the tabs on the back of the cover with the notches on the back of the printer, then lower and close the cover. So the latches are referring to in the back here. So we'll do that. There we are. And boom. We now have that installed. So let me get some paper here as well, because no doubt it's probably going to want to print a test page there. Okay, so I've gone ahead and held down the power button for 5 seconds and asked me to insert the paper, and what it does goes through an initializing process. Yeah, here we go. It's doing something. Okay. Here we are. So it says printhead status information. So printhead status. We have the black, cyan, and yellow looking all good, but it's telling me take out the magenta there by the looks of things. Remember I said that earlier, that the magenta itself, I was worried about a little bit. So let's see what happens here. Okay, take up this little tray here. Okay, we took out the magenta. And yeah, no doubt it's because of it looks like there's a bit of leaking going on there on the print head. I'm going to get that all cleaned up and see if we can get that going. I'm just going to use some isopropyl alcohol. Okay, and for this process, I have 99% isopropyl alcohol is what I'm using. I use this in anything to do with print heads or anything to do with ink. And I'm just going to dip it in the Q-tip there. And the first thing I'm going to do is just clean up that print head a little bit and get that off of the actual communication side here. And the reason I'm using 99% because it dissipates extremely quickly. It doesn't cause any damage to anything here, which is great. And the same thing, okay, it's looking good there. Because we do have some ink on here, I'm just going to clean it up as I go. There we are. And we'll dip in some more here. And you can see on the actual interface here, there is some ink there. Just cleaning it up. It's very possible it's damaged. I'm not sure. It was sealed in package because it is new old stocks, but it's very possible there could be some damage to the printhead itself. I mean, you can see ink all over me here now. So I'm hoping I can get this revived. Yeah, it definitely looks like there's a little bit of damage there. I'm not exactly sure. It could just be the way it looks there with all the ink. We'll just keep on cleaning it up here and see what happens. So I think we've cleaned it up pretty well here. Now let's put this back in and see if it makes any difference during the initializing process. Close that, pop that in there, and we'll do the same thing again. Put this across the front and we'll lock it into place. And it must have a sensor on there because it won't let me do anything with that open. So we'll close that as well. There we are. Perfect. Now it should try to reinitialize the printer again. Oh, we're getting some more colors this time. Do we rescue the day here? I'm not sure just yet, but we're getting there. Okay, it looks like there's definitely some alignment issues going on here with the printer. Looks like the black head here is having an issue. I'm not sure. Okay, it looks like the printer has been initialized, but we still need to figure out what's going on with this alignment. And I'm sure there's an option in here to be able to correct that alignment if there's any issue. I'm going to hit print or initialize again. I'm going to hold down the power button for 5 seconds. and it should automatically start up the initialization process again, just to see if it will recheck everything and reprint to the paper here. Okay, so after some additional troubleshooting, we have quite a bit of mess on our hands. So this was the first page that came out after we had the initial error, and you can see that the colors looked pretty fine. As we continued to go, it started to mess up the black, specifically the black side of it and the alignment. And then after that, it then started to lose out on some of the black and start to mess it up even more. But then now the yellow is missing. Just like my original 670C printer video that I had done before, it's important that those print heads are all cleaned up. So I'm going to go through the process right now and taking out all the individual print heads and get them all cleaned up with the isopropyl alcohol, using the Q-tips and getting everything kind of cleaned up. So here we go. Okay, we've done the cleaning of all the different print heads. Now it should do its kind of fancy alignment thing or whatever it does. And now hopefully we can do this. Now what I'm doing is basically using isopropyl alcohol on the tip of a cotton swab to promote the ink flow within the actual print head itself. When I was done, I would dab it on a piece of paper over here to start to see that it would start to flow through. So that was something that I was doing as part of this process. So we'll wait for it to finish up here. Okay, so this time it's doing a print head status information. Everything looks pretty much aligned, but it's indicating that we're having an issue again with the print head. So it's telling us the magenta again to pull out and put back in. And yeah, I'm just going to look at this again, see what we can clean up again. I mean, we're not spending too much time on this again. We're just going to see if we can do a cleanup here, make sure that connectors here are good and it looks good. I'm just using, again, a cotton swab that's clean and the isopropyl alcohol wipes again, or isopropyl alcohol again, sorry. Okay, there we go. We have that in there. Let's see if we can make that work again, and we'll see if that made a difference. So it's doing the same thing again. Again, it is, I mean, the black is much more clear now, and it actually looks pretty darn good. But it's telling us the magenta is just having some difficulty here, and definitely, you know, and again, when I opened up the actual package, there was ink all inside the package. I'm going to work on this for a few more moments, see if I can get this going. If not, we'll be right back and we'll find out what the result is. Okay, we're back, and there's been about an hour that's gone by in real time, and I have a whole bunch of things going on here that I am going to explain to you what I've done and why we're still going to continue anyway. So at the beginning, we had the very first printer print. So keep in mind, this has been stored in new old stock, even new old stock, in a box since 1999. So this was the first one that came out. I was like, oh my goodness, that looks fantastic. It looked really good. And all of a sudden it started going misaligned or whatever. And it was mostly black that was doing that. That's fine. I've seen this 100 times before in ink. You just got to clean the cartridges, clean the heads, as I showed you before. And the second page we did really showed this, like, okay, well, the yellow stopped working. So you can see where I had cleaned each individual one of the print heads. And the print heads store ink And then the ink system in this actually supply the print heads. As they go down, it pulls ink from this area into the printhead area. So no big deal. We got that down pat. So that was kind of all good to go. But then I did another test and test and test after test, and I'll bring those up now because there's tons of tests I've done. And then all of a sudden it started printing like this and wouldn't let me go any further. So you can see that even though it's telling me the heads were fine, we weren't able to go anywhere. It continues to tell me this magenta one, which was giving us a problem at the beginning, is continuing to give us a problem. If you recall, I said when we opened the actual container, I noticed there was a pile of ink inside the container. So upon further looking of this, I continued to work on it, and I got it down to this point now. Everything is looking great. The black, cyan, and yellow print heads are absolutely perfect. It actually is flowing ink, no problem. It's the magenta one that's continuing to give me a problem. And why is there solder out, you ask? Well, every one of these print heads are just basically copper on the back that have contacts. And I noticed when I was here looking at this originally, I noticed that there was a bunch of green on the copper, like eating away at the traces. The ink over the years, it must have leaked in the package and caused damage to the actual printhead. So I skimmed the copper with the solder to, make sure there's no bridge connections, make sure everything was good. But you can still see, even through that process, there's damaged traces on here. This is a bad one right here, and there's even some bad connections on here. Without actually digging even further and deeper and starting to bridge those connections and start to figure all this out, I was actually able to get it to print once, and then it stopped again. So if you notice, the orange light, I should say, that's sitting here blinking is telling me that there's still an issue with the printer. I soldered all the different ones. I ran a skim coat on all the different traces. And once I did that, and I used vinegar and cleaned out all the different green, copper type degradation there. But I think it's too far gone. The orange light continues to stay on. So courtesy of the good old manual, it tells me, run a diagnostic test on the printer to see if there's a problem, and it will tell you what it is. And of course, that diagnostic test that comes out is this page here. And it's telling me that there's an issue with the magenta head, saying that it just is not functional. I mean, we could stop there, but that's no fun. We're a couple hours into setting this new old stock printer up in real time, much less for you guys at home. So what I'm going to do now is get the bench all cleaned up, get the computer set up, get the software kind of all ready to go and set up here, because, we're going to continue on. We're going to bring this to the point where we are ready, because I'm going to order some heads for this. I'm going to order some new cartridges for this because, it's good to have. And I really want to see what this printer can do. And I think it's worth doing that. So let me get the printer or computer all set up, and we'll continue on our way here. Okay, and we're back, all set up beautifully on the bench with our Dell Dimension XPS B933. We did a video on it before. It's our Pentium 3 machine running Windows 98 2nd edition, which I think is perfect for this setup. So as soon as I turn on the computer, it's automatically detecting the Hewlett Packard 2000C. Despite the fact we're having a printer head problem over here, we should still be able to walk through the actual installation. So it says the device driver is a software program that makes a hardware device work. Thank you, Windows 98. All right, I'm going to pop in the driver disk that came with the actual system. And then it says search for the best driver or display a list of all drivers. So before I continue this, I'm just going to hit cancel for now, because what I actually want to do is load it from the installation software, and we'll go from there. We'll hit cancel for now. Windows 98 booting up. And again, if you didn't see that video, feel free to go check it out on the channel. We do have that recorded and uploaded on YouTube. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go into my computer and access that disk. It's the HP 2000C. It should have auto run. It says, welcome to the Hewlett Packard 2000C setup program. The HP 2000C color printer requires printer driver software. Do you want to install the HP 2000C printer driver software now? Yes, we do. Click on yes. After installing the printer driver software, relaunch the HP 2000C Printing on Essential CD to take advantage of helpful utilities, bonus software, and printer productivity tips. Absolutely. Hit OK. All right, we'll hit OK, and it should install the driver here. Okay, so it says the license. We want to make sure we hit yes to that. The HP Printer Setup Wizard will copy the printer software to this computer and update Windows system files. The printer will be managed by either the computer or network printer server. So we're actually going to select My Computer for now, hit Next. And then, so printer is HP 2000C, port is LPT1, and we'll name it, we'll keep on. This looks absolutely wonderful, and make this printer the default Windows printer. Yes. Hit Next. And then, so we have that all connected. So it says here, before proceeding, make sure that the printer is properly connected. Yes, it is. And the printer is turned on. Yes, it is. Even though it's flashing the orange color, it's just telling me there's a problem with the printer. It's not causing it not to be turned on or not to be interfacing with the actual computer itself. So we'll hit Next on that. And there we are. It's installing the printer drivers. I prefer to do it this way through the actual printer if possible, installation, versus actually just doing it the other way, because then that way it gets the full installation experience. It's a beautiful looking printer, and I'm sure it's going to work great. Installation was successful. The software for your HP 2000C printer has been installed. Installation includes the printer driver and toolbox and taskbar icon. Two-way communication with your printer has been established. That's bonus. More information on the printer software is available in the user's guide or in the HP toolbox. Okay, we'll hit Exit for now. Now, it does state that once the installation's been done, to go ahead and relaunch it. But I'm going to restart the computer first. Just kind of like to do that whenever I do any sort of installations, just to be absolutely sure everything's good to go. And we'll be right back to the desktop after the restart. Okay, we're back up. We'll hit OK on the login. Now it's setting the hardware again. That should automatically detect this time. Okay, we'll let it install. There we are. And it did indicate the Windows 95 drivers that are on the disk would work for Windows 98. It did say that in the manual, so I wasn't worried about doing so. That has been installed. Let's triple check here under printers to make sure we're detecting the actual printer installation. There's the beautiful printer, our HP 2000C. Okay, under My Computer, we're going to select the disk again, and this time it should go through the installation with us. Nice little splash screen we got going on here. So printing essentials, we have the install printer driver software, install Font Smart, which is a management utility, plus a wide variety of true type fonts. Make a floppy version of the printer driver software. That is pretty neat. Copy printer driver software files to the network and register your printer. So we're going to install the printer driver software. It says it's already installed in your system. Do you want to reinstall? Okay, no, because it did tell us to do that. So basically then what it was saying is, we'll install the software, pop this back in, and you can do other things by relaunching the actual application. Okay, so we're going to quit that for now. For more information, visit this website. Unfortunately, it does not work. It is done. Okay, we're going to go to the Start menu and see what's been installed. Let's look for Hewlett Packard. There we go. So it did install the toolbox itself. It says the ink levels cannot be displayed. Close the printhead access cover or insert the ink cartridges. Again, it's coming up and saying printhead failure. One of the printheads has a serious problem and has failed. On the troubleshoot for instructions about this problem. So if you click on troubleshoot, it'll give you different things to actually do. It could be ink buildup, which we already ruled out. That's not the case. And then click here for more information, or click here for instructions on cleaning the printhead contacts. So it tells you actually how to do that, which is pretty cool to be able to go through and lift it up, open the door, and continue on. And so, you know, it's just a process that we already followed together, and make sure it's turned off, bring up the printhead, and clean the gunk out of it. So, you know, even though these are brand new, we know there was an issue already with it, which is what we were able to determine. And you know what? I could clearly see that there was oxidation on there. There was some green stuff building up on the copper lines themselves, the copper traces. Again, because the ink was on that the entire time for how many years, eating away at the traces. So we know that's the problem. So we're going to cancel that for now. And then it says, okay, unable, well, it says unable to read, but it is saying printhead failure, but it is showing that our ink levels are loaded up. It says ink cartridge information. So we have black ink, cyan, magenta, yellow, and then print information. It says printer service cannot be performed now. The printer requires attention. So it definitely wants us to go in and fix that. So in here is where I was talking about before, where you could actually align the printheads, clean the printheads, print a test page, test printer communication, etc. So if I click on print a test page, it's not going to be able to go and do this because of the fact that the printer is requiring attention. Again, because it continues to flash, because it says, hey, you can't print right now. You have a problem with your print head. You know, it's just part of the process, and not every single video that is done on YouTube or the Retro Recall, we're just showing you that things do go wrong. You know, I had an option. I could stop doing all of this and showing all this experience, scrap this footage for now and move on to another project and come back to this. But, you know, it was really exciting to be able to walk through the unboxing of the beautiful Hewlett Packard printer that we have here. We may not have been able to be 100% successful in today's video in terms of getting the printer absolutely up and running and printing. I am not worried. I was so happy and excited to show everybody the unboxing of this beautiful printer, and we decided to push through. We now have the system, the Pentium 3, installed with the HP 2000C printer. We did a beautiful unboxing. We got to see all the different documentation, the software that's been installed with the printer, and the actual experience itself. Loading up the ink cartridges, loading up the print heads. Yes, a print head is damaged. It was sitting in the box, ink leaked, it ate away at the copper traces. Tried to repair it, couldn't repair it. It's gone. I'm going to install brand new cartridges and print heads, but you know, we have 3 of the 4 working anyway. Just the magenta is probably all we need, but you know, it's good to have those on hand, especially for an older printer like this. Heck, it's 24 years old. It's allowed to have a problem. So we're definitely going to do that in a future video, but I think, you know, this was still a success. We were still able to get the printer installed. We were still able to go down the road. And you know what? Not everything always goes 100%, but that is totally okay. And we go from there. That said, if you like today's video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It really makes a world of difference on the channel, helps the channel grow. Hit the notification button, change it to all. You'll be notified of new content such as this. Leave a comment down below. Did you own one of these printers in your past? You know, did you have experiences with print heads versus actual print cartridges and things like that, that you ran into problems such as this? You know, what was your experience? I love hearing all the comments down below. I respond to every one of them. Love the interaction on the channel. Always making new content. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.